Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Y'all like that new intro? Good morning. Oh, it is a beautiful sunny morning here in Georgia. Guess what? I'm riding solo this morning, so thank you for joining me. Make sure, please, that you hit the like button here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the share, spread the word, y'all. This is our Tamara for Georgia broadcast, where we bring voice to issues, activists, and activism right here in the great state of Georgia. A lot of work to do. I'm not going nowhere, everybody. I'm here. I'm here to stay. I'm stomping. I'm not playing. I see you joining me this morning. I see you joining me. He says, I'm here. What's the topic? Ooh, we're going to get hot and heated, Mr. Robert. We're going to get hot and heated in just a few minutes. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the share button. Notifications. Spread the word. We are here live on YouTube. I have taken a hiatus from Facebook. I'm done with Facebook, y'all, with broadcasting live over there. Between the censoring, between the algorithms, it's a wrap. You know, Facebook has made it quite clear, the word, the messaging. If you don't pay to play over there, or if they think that your messaging is too radical or whatever they tend to think, these broadcasts are not being spread. So please share, subscribe, hit that notification button, hit the like button, spread the word, y'all. We can't keep playing in these social media streets because, you know, this work is too valuable. This work is too important. So we can't keep talking in the wilderness, because that's what it felt like on Facebook. I saw my numbers literally take a dive. We had Angela Nirvana and Chris Lodson to join us last week, and Angela shared with you how she has been literally banned from Facebook, you know, and I saw my numbers taking a nosedive. So before you ban me, kick me off, I'll leave. So I'm still over there, everybody. I will still interact on Facebook, but I have moved more so to the Instagram platform, where it's still sketchy over there, but I'm still there. Of course, I'll remain on Twitter, which has never been my friend, but we'll continue to rock with Twitter. But I'm on Clubhouse. I spend a lot of time, everybody, on Clubhouse. It's a new app. If you don't have an iDevice, just hold up your Android. I have an Android device as well. And it's coming to Android, but I think it's a great app. It gives you an opportunity. It's a different kind of app because it gives you an opportunity to be heard, literally heard. I don't have to dress up and put on anything to come to you and be live and have some great conversations. So I spend a lot of time talking on the Clubhouse. Fan base, Black owned, another great app where you can be heard. A lot of great communities over there specific to the Black agenda. I like fan base. I'm liking the fact that you can also monetize over there in a very unique way. Everybody is sharing. It's literally creating community. And one thing in this COVID season, everybody, that has happened is, you know, now we have to figure out where's our tribe? Who are our people? How are we going to move in these new spaces? COVID has made it clear that we won't be going back to the same structure. You know, we won't necessarily be, I know I won't. And I like being, you know, more so at home, working from behind the computer, going out when I need to. This is a real virus. Absolutely. I am not for the vaccine. That's my personal opinion, but this is still a real virus. I have lost relatives. I have friends that have had it and friends that have not done well, you know, with their response to the COVID. So I'm careful still. So this new COVID world, this new season that we're in, yeah, let's just be mindful that we have to do things differently. We got to play this game different. Politics is different. Everything is different. Everything is different. So I just want to say good morning to everybody. Good morning. I see you family chiming in. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification. Make sure you are sharing this broadcast. I am going to be only live here on YouTube, everybody. Only live on YouTube. Robbie and David are not with me today. Let me give you the scoop, because I don't want you to think nothing's going on. Something's going on, because nothing's going on. David is tired, y'all. David is in his 70s. David has been doing this work for over 40 years. I try not to stress David. I try not to push David, but David is tired. So we've given David an opportunity, and he's even asked, he's like, Tamara, I'm tired. So David will be joining us at his will when he's able to. And we look forward to having him. You know how much we all love David. To have him in these trenches for 40 plus years. You know, this is, you know, I appreciate him. I appreciate all his great work. So David will be joining us when he wants to. Okay, we have to give him that. He's earned the right to come and go as he pleases. So he will be joining us when he wants to, and as his schedule permits. He's retired. He's tired. 40 years of stomping in these streets. He's tired. Robbie has taken on a bigger, and I'm excited for her, a bigger business venture. And she's devoting a lot of her time to her next move in life. And I'm so super proud of her. I'll let her share it when she comes back. She'll be coming back in. I have been pushing Robbie to be a political commentator, continue to stay in these political streets, and I know she will. So Robbie will be coming back in as her schedule permits based on her new venture. So I'm super excited. This is a season of transition, y'all. This is a season of transition, and people are moving in different spaces and different places, and we have to give them the time, the space and the room and the love. We still got to love on them as they, you know, move on and move forward. I love David. I love Robbie. We still love each other, and they'll be back to join us right here on this Tamara for Georgia broadcast. So in the meantime, y'all gonna be stuck with me and the guest. I'll still continue to bring guests to the broadcast. Like I said, last week we brought Angela Nirvana. So if you haven't followed Angela, please go follow her on this YouTube, because she is, you know, Facebook totally just, you know, just destroyed her. So make sure you follow Angela Nirvana, the reparationist perspective, right here on YouTube. Chris is still out there in Sacramento holding it down in these legislative spaces. So proud of Chris. He's a trooper. I appreciate him so very much. But this morning, y'all, I'm gonna bring to you, I'm gonna share my screen, what's going on here in Georgia. And we're gonna talk about, so, you know, the fact that let's go back a step. Tim Scott said that America is not a racist country. Kamala came behind him and said the same thing, echoed that sentiment. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? We're going to dive into that conversation. I hope you guys will chime in the chat. You know, I love putting your comments on the screen because y'all bring that fire. Bring that fire to this broadcast. So before we get started, we're going to talk about what's in the news. I'm going to share my screen. It's different rocking solo, y'all. I'm doing this. I'm navigating. But, you know, we can handle it. Like I say, I'm not going nowhere. I'm still in these political streets. We got 2022 races coming, and you never know what your girl gonna do. All right, let's share what's going on in the news. Let me share my screen. Share this screen. Yes. We're going to share some audio. We're going to hear from Mr. Tim Scott, and we're going to hear what Ms. Kamala Harris said in just a minute. But before we get started, we're going to talk about Georgia in the news. Give me just a second. Let me get this going here for you guys. I appreciate your patience. Like I said, make sure you hit the like, hit the share, hit that notification button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Spread the word. All right, here we go. Georgia looks ahead to state legislative redistricting. Y'all, you know, the 2020 census just happened around the country. What happened here in Georgia? Let me remove this banner, y'all, so you can, or maybe I could just scroll up. Okay, y'all stay with me. Your girl is navigating this thing alone today. So here, Georgia looks ahead to state legislative redistricting. New apportionment figures released by the U.S. Census Bureau show Georgia's population grew by 1 million people from 2010 to 2020, but that was not enough to gain a new congressional seat. So we still got 14 congressional seats right here in the great state of Georgia. Each state is assigned congressional seats based on population counts by the U.S. Census Bureau. Georgia has 14 congressional districts. District lines are redrawn every 10 years after the census is complete. The local counts used for redistricting will be delivered to states by September 30th. So in the fall, they'll get their local counts. But Georgia's reapportionment and redistricting process will be delayed by a few months, says State Rep Darlene Taylor, who's the vice chair of the House Committee on Legislative and Congressional Reapportionment. The committee is responsible for drawing the boundaries of Georgia's State House, State Senate, and U.S. House districts. Both chambers of the General Assembly will have a committee responsible for overseeing the redistricting process. Goes on to say, once committee members receive the census data, they work with legislative staff to examine changes in the data. Local leaders and the public are allowed to give input before and after the maps are drawn. Y'all, they about to redraw these lines here in Georgia. You better get ready, y'all. If there's local input and there's an opportunity for us to have a say, we need to say something, because you know it's about to happen. They see where these concentrations of minority voters, they see it. They see it. And now's the opportune time to break that all up. Redistricting will be very interesting. It's some crazy districts here in Georgia, y'all. It says both chambers finalized the district maps during a special session called by the governor, who has the final say to veto or approve the maps. The session is usually at the end of the summer or early fall, but Taylor expects the session to be in late fall now. Georgia does not have a statutory or a constitutional deadline for legislative redistricting. Lawmakers should complete the process ahead of the 2020 election cycle. Y'all, the general primary election is May 24th, 2022. So pay attention. They're not going to get the census data until late fall. Well, in the fall, September 30th. Georgia will take a little bit longer to get it all together. This is why you see some hesitation with people jumping into these races right now. We don't see a whole lot of traction about who's running for what. It's kind of, you kind of can't, because you don't know if you might be redistricted out of your whole district here in Georgia. You just don't know. The primary election is May 24th of 2022. So if Georgia doesn't redistrict until November, candidates will surely start coming out the woodworks right after. They won't have but six or so months to actually campaign, right? Interesting. Republicans control both chambers of the Georgia legislature. There are 34 Republicans and 22 Democrats in the Senate. So if you don't know, here it is. Republicans control both chambers of the Georgia legislature. We are not a blue state. We are a red state, y'all. Let's be clear. Our governor and both chambers of the Georgia legislature are controlled by Republicans. Here it is. There are 34 Republicans and 22 Democrats in the Senate, and 103 Republicans and 77 Democrats in the House. And based on the increased population in metropolitan areas and shifts in the rural areas, Taylor says she believes there will be some expansion in Atlanta and the surrounding suburban areas. They're about to break up these districts, y'all. Get ready. Political analysts also said the migration patterns could lead to a shift in political dynamics. Thank you. They're about to break up these districts, y'all. Research analysis conducted by the University of Maryland and Washington University professors found that partisan politics is rooted in geography and proximity to a major city. Georgia's population grew from about 9.6 million in 2010 to about 10.7 million in 2020, the census data collected last spring showed. The increase represents a growth rate of 10.6%, making Georgia the 12th fastest growing state. The number of people in the country increased by 7.4% to 331.4 million. Officials said the 2020 national population growth rate is lower than the previous growth rate of 9.7%. The South grew the fastest over the past 10 years with a growth rate of 10.2%. Georgia's congressional leadership is majority Republican with 8 representatives. There are six Democratic U.S. representatives for Georgia. So out of the 14 congressional seats here in the state of Georgia, 6 of them are Democratic seats. Just for some additional information, Texas will gain 2 seats in the U.S. House. North Carolina, Florida, Colorado, Montana, and Oregon will gain 1 seat. California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia will lose 1 seat. Some change is coming, y'all. Pay attention. These district lines will be redrawn. We don't know where we're about to land, so pay attention. Another story here in Georgia: 3 men indicted on federal hate crime charges in the Ahmaud Arbery killing. Y'all, we've been following Ahmaud. God bless his soul. A grand jury has charged 3 Georgia men with federal hate crimes and attempted kidnapping in the death of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old Black man who was shot while jogging last year. Gregory Michael, 65, his son Travis Michael, 35, and William Rhodey Bryan, 51, were all each charged with 1 count of interference with rights and with 1 count of attempted kidnapping, according to a Justice Department statement. Travis and Gregory Michael also face charges of using guns to inflict violence. The indictment alleges the defendants used force and threats to intimidate and interfere with Arbery's right to use a public street because he was Black. The McMichaels chased Arbery through a suburban neighborhood outside of Brunswick, yelling at him, cutting off his jogging route with their truck, and threatening him with guns. Arbery died during that encounter on February 23rd, 2020. When a video capturing the confrontation was leaked and posted online that May, sparking widespread outrage, the case investigation sped up. All 3 men were later charged in state court. They faced state charges including murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. A trial date has not yet been set for that case. So we're going to keep paying attention. Justice for Ahmaud Arbery. We're not going away. We're going to keep paying attention, y'all. Garrett Wolfe, the former Atlanta officer who fatally shot Rayshard Brooks, was wrongfully terminated, the board says. Y'all pay attention. Georgia is, So again, the topic today is Georgia. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state, y'all? This is in the news today. This is what's happening right now in Georgia. We're going to get to our topic in just a few minutes. It's coming, y'all. Garrett Wolfe, let's see. The former Atlanta police officer charged in the fatal shooting of Rayshard Brooks in a Wendy's parking lot was wrongfully terminated, the Atlanta Civil Service Board has ruled. It's a technicality, y'all. The Atlanta Police Department in a statement said, it is important to note that the CSB did not make a determination as to whether Officer Wolfe violated Atlanta Police Department policies. In light of the CBC's rulings, APD will conduct an assessment to determine if additional investigative actions are needed. God bless his soul, Rayshard Brooks. The APD said the decision merely said the firing process was not done in accordance with the Atlanta City Code. It's a technicality, y'all. APD said Wolfe will remain on administrative leave until the criminal charges against him have been resolved. Now, that's a good idea. The mayor's office echoed the APD statement saying the firing was reversed because it was not in line with city code and that no determination was made on whether Wolfe violated department policy. Technicality, y'all. It's a technicality. We know he did what he did. He know he did what he did. Georgia in the news. Y'all heard about this? I know you heard. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is not seeking re-election. She says it's time to pass the baton on to someone else. Y'all, I knew it. I had a gut feeling. She wasn't going to run again. I felt it a long time ago with her. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms said in a news conference this morning that she will not be seeking re-election as she feels it is time to pass the baton. The decision that I have made after thoughtful prayer and consideration is not to seek another term as mayor of this city, Bottoms said during a news conference. In the same way that it was clear to me almost 5 years ago that I should run for mayor of Atlanta, it is abundantly clear to me today that it is time to pass the baton on to someone else. Bottoms says she does not know what is next for her, but noted this is a decision that was made from a position of strength and not weakness. The mayor also said she would not be accepting a job with Walgreens, denying reports of her next move. This has been the highest honor to serve as mayor of this city. Bottoms announced late Thursday night that she will not run for re-election this year. Like I said, I had a feeling that she was not. I felt like she, was a more than she could ever imagine. These shoes was big. This task was huge. So I am not surprised, y'all, that she will not be seeking re-election. Georgia in the news. Georgia in the news. Here's another article. Georgia enacts new probation reform law. 1 in 4 Georgians under supervised felony probation now qualify for early release from probation under a new reform measure signed into law. Spread the word, y'all. Spread the word. The measure is expected to save Georgia $34 million a year, money that normally would have been spent supervising people who qualify for early termination. Going forward, more people have a chance to be released from the program after 3 years. The new law is effective immediately. Here's some data y'all may not know that Georgia has one of the most harsh probation programs in the country. I'm not surprised. So going back to our topic, y'all, we gonna get there. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? In the news today, this is what's happening today. Georgia has one of the most harsh probation programs in the country. Some 191,000 people are serving felony probation sentences in Georgia, more than any other state in the nation. Let that sink in. Despite all the work we have done as legislators to reform and rethink the criminal justice system, Georgia still has the largest number of individuals serving probation in the country. Senator Brian Strickland, Republican out of McDonough, said in a prepared statement, SB 105 addresses this problem by allowing individuals who have proven their rehabilitation through good behavior the ability to access early termination. Y'all, Republican out of McDonough, this is where we have to get beyond party politics. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party. We got to get beyond party politics because it's all about policy. And this is some good policy right here. Republican out of McDonough in the Georgia State Senate, Brian Strickland. Strickland introduced the bill, and State Rep Tyler Paul Smith, Republican out of Bremen, carried it in the House during the legislative session that ended in late March. The new probation reform law, formerly SB 105, reduces the number of people serving lengthy probation sentences by creating pathways to early release after they've served 3 years of probation. They qualify if they paid all of their restitution, had no revocations in the last 2 years, and no new offenses. A judge still has the final say on whether to end a person's probation. We'll take it, though. We'll take it. Again, Georgia has one of the most harsh probation programs in the country. Some 191,000 people are serving felony probation sentences in Georgia, more than any other state in the nation. Again, our topic, we're going to talk about it. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? We getting there, y'all. We getting there. It's coming. I want to hear from you. Put your comments on the screen. The next article. Mass Georgia voter cancellations begin using info from other states. Georgia election officials plan to start canceling voter registrations as soon as this week. This was last week, y'all, on a smaller scale than in past years, and for the first time exchanging information with other states to identify invalid voters. After large numbers of cancellations in prior years, Georgia election officials expect to remove roughly 113,000 voter registrations this year. The state canceled a record 534,000 registrations in 2017 and then removed an additional 287,000 2 years ago. The biennial cancellations, called voter purges by their critics, remove registrations of those who have changed their addresses, had election mail returned as undeliverable, or didn't participate in elections for several years. Voting rights groups say Georgia's cancellation disenfranchised eligible voters who haven't moved after they decided not to vote in a few elections. So this is where it gets hairy, because I don't have a problem with, cleaning up. I'm a computer science major. The one thing they taught us, the first thing they taught us, is that data is king. You want to protect the integrity of your data. You don't want bad data. So I get it. You got to keep the rolls current, clean, current addresses, people that are, it just has to be, the data just has to have integrity, right? So when they're removing people because, they've changed their addresses, that's they should give them an opportunity to update the address. And I'm sure that option does exist. I want to believe it does. But had election mail returned as undeliverable, how often has it been returned undeliverable? Have you mailed and maybe some, let's not, maybe a couple times, but not the first time it comes back undeliverable. Or here's the problem, or didn't participate in elections for several years. Now that's my prerogative if I don't want to vote in any of these elections right now. And if I want to vote later, that's my prerogative. So this is where it becomes a problem. This is why it says voting rights groups say Georgia's cancellations disenfranchise eligible voters who haven't moved after they decided not to vote in a few elections. This year's cancellations will start with 12,000 voters who have died according to Social Security records. That's legitimate, right? In prior years, Georgia relied on its own death records rather than a multi-state database. Okay, you're making sure that according to the Social Security Administration, you're tied in. These people are actually dead, and you want to remove them. So 12,000 people have died. Okay, legitimate. It says later this summer, an additional 101,000 voters who haven't participated in election for 9 years will be canceled unless they respond to notification letters. So here's where I did appreciate this sentence. Unless they respond, they did send out notification letters. Like they didn't just take them off the rolls and did not notify them. Okay. State election director Chris Harvey said high turnout, over 5 million of the state's 7.6 million registered voters cast ballots in November. It reduced the number of cancellations needed. Casting a ballot ensures that a voter registration remains active. In addition, cancellation in prior years already eliminated many outdated registrations. Georgia is one of at least 9 states with the law known as Use It or Lose It, which enables election officials to factor voters' failure to cast a ballot into the process of canceling their registrations, according to a review of laws compiled by the National Association of Secretaries of State. Under Georgia's law, otherwise eligible voters lose their registration if they don't participate in elections for several years. Voters are declared inactive after 5 years, and then their registrations are voided after missing the next 2 general elections. So that's 9 years. Inactive voters are still eligible voters until their registrations are canceled. The most significant change to Georgia's voter list practices this year is its enrollment in a 30-state organization that shares voter information called ERIC, the Electronic Registration Information Center. ERIC notifies state election officials when someone registers to vote in another state, obtains a new driver's license, or changes his or her address. Those voters will then be mailed letters to confirm they've moved. Failure to respond to the letters starts the multi-year period before registrations can be removed from Georgia's voter list. He says it's a step toward more accurate information getting into the system earlier. Accurate information on the voter list is another defense against people doing something they shouldn't be doing. It's going to make it harder for somebody to try to sneak in and vote. The article goes on to say it's unclear how often that actually happens. When Georgia election officials learn from ERIC that voters have moved and send them notification letters, their registration could be canceled as soon as 4 years later, rather than the 9 it would take to remove them without any information that they had moved. Notification and waiting periods before removing voters are required by federal law. Keeping accurate voter lists isn't a partisan issue, says Shane Hamlin, the executive director for ERIC, which is based in Washington. Voter suppression versus voter fraud. This is an argument that, Republicans and Democrats are continuing to go back and forth with. I actually printed out the entirety of SB 202. I'm going to read every page. I'm going to dissect every page. And when I do, we're going to walk through this, baby. We're going to walk through SB 202 because this argument about voter suppression, voter fraud, we need to understand for ourselves. And it's not, and we're going to get beyond the partisanship, the party politics, because one side is saying one thing and one side is saying something else. Let's read it for ourselves. So we're going to dissect it. Stay tuned. That broadcast is to come. All right, one last article before we dive into the topic, y'all. I wanted to take you to the half hour. A former Georgia sheriff's deputy said he wanted to charge Black people with felonies to prevent them from voting, court documents show. So going back to our topic. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? I think I'm making a true argument here, one way or the other. I'm going to let you decide. Is Georgia a racist state? So this sheriff's deputy, y'all, this is a former Georgia deputy said he had plans to charge Black Georgians with felonies to prevent them from voting, according to court filings in the Middle District of Georgia. Cody Griggers, 28, pleaded guilty on Monday. This was about a week ago, to one count of possession of an unregistered firearm. He was fired from his position in November 2020 after FBI investigators messaged the Wilkins County Sheriff about the investigation into Griggers, the Raleigh News and Observer reported. The FBI first became aware of Griggers from a separate federal case in California regarding an associate of his. Y'all, this man has been doing some stuff. Gray Zamudio. They started investigating Zamudio after receiving a tip about Facebook posts that said it's up to vigilante militia to crush the liberal terrorist. Investigators seized Zamudio's cell phone from a search warrant where they discovered that he and Griggers regularly communicated in a group text known as Shadow Moses. According to the filing, Griggers wrote extensively in the group about purchasing illegal weapons and explosives and expressed viewpoints consistent with white racially motivated extremists, including positive references to the Holocaust. In August 2019, Griggers wrote in the group that he used excessive force on a theft suspect and said the beating was sweet stress relief. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? Y'all check it out. He goes on to say, I beat the SHIT out of on Saturday, he wrote. Sheriff deputy said it looked like he fell. Riggers also said he planned to charge Black Georgians with felonies to prevent them from voting. The court documents show. It's a sign of beautiful things to come, Grigger said. Also, I'm going to charge them with whatever felonies I can to take away their ability to vote. In Georgia, felons are not allowed to vote until completing the terms of parole, incarceration, probation, and all fines are paid. Georgia. So if America is not a racist country, is Georgia a racist state? Let's hear from Tim Scott, what he had to say.
Nowhere do we need common ground more desperately than in our discussions of race. I have experienced the pain of discrimination. I know what it feels like to be pulled over for no reason, to be followed around the store while I'm shopping. I remember every morning at the kitchen table, my grandfather would open the newspaper and read it, I thought. But later I realized he had never learned to read it. He just wanted to set the right example. I've also experienced a different kind of intolerance. I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives, by liberals. Just last week, a national newspaper suggested my family's poverty was actually privilege because a relative owned land generations before my time. Believe me, I know firsthand, our healing is not finished. In 2015, after the shooting of Walter Scott, I wrote a bill to fund body cameras. Last year, after the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, I built an even bigger police reform proposal. But my Democratic colleagues blocked it. I extended an olive branch. I offered amendments, but Democrats used the filibuster to block the debate from even happening. My friends across the aisle seemed to want the issue more than they wanted a solution. But I'm still working. I'm hopeful that this will be different. When America comes together, we've made tremendous progress, but powerful forces want to pull us apart. 100 years ago, kids in classrooms were taught the color of their skin was their most important characteristic. And if they looked a certain way, they were inferior. Today, kids are being taught that the color of their skin defines them again. And if they look a certain way, they're an oppressor. From colleges to corporations to our culture, people are making money and gaining power by pretending we haven't made any progress at all, by doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
And that was Tim Scott. Let's see what Kamala had to say.
I believe that we need to, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country, but we also do have to speak truth about the history of racism in our country and its existence today. And I applaud the president for always having the ability and the courage, frankly, to speak the truth about it. He spoke what we know from the intelligence community. One of the greatest threats to our national security is domestic terrorism manifested by white supremacists. And so these are issues that we must confront, and it does not help to heal our country, to unify us as a people, to ignore the realities of that. And I think the president has been outstanding and a real national leader on the issue of saying, let's confront the realities and let's deal with it, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And the idea is that we want to unify the country, but not without speaking truth and requiring accountability as appropriate.
And that was Kamala. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I had so much to give y'all this morning, y'all. There's so much proof. And I want to hear from you. I'm going to put comments on the screen and we're going to have a conversation this morning. Let me stop sharing my screen. Y'all, is America, so America is not a racist country, right? So that's what they said. America is not a racist country. So is Georgia a racist state? Let's have that conversation this morning. I see the comments over in the chat. Good morning, family. I think that, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Y'all, my glasses are crooked. I'm disappointed because Kamala, we just delivered the White House, right? We just delivered the White House. Black America delivered the White House. Black America delivered the United States Senate. Kamala is our vice president. My audience this morning, y'all, Kamala is an Indian woman. She's an Indian woman. And I'm disappointed that when Kamala came behind Tim Scott with that comment and agreed with him, how dare she speak to the Black experience in this country? How dare she speak to the Black experience in this country, and we allow her to speak and nobody checked her? Somebody was supposed to pull that sister to the side and say, wait a minute, you don't speak for us. You don't speak for us who are descendants of chattel slavery in this country. You don't speak for us because you don't have that experience. You are not a descendant of slavery in America. You're an Indian woman with brown skin like mine. And all skin folks ain't kin folks. And for Kamala to make those statements, to agree with Tim Scott, we already know Tim Scott is a lost cause. Done. Point blank. But for Kamala, for those of us, for those of you, because I voted down ballot, that means I didn't vote for the presidency, y'all. I skipped it because I couldn't vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. So I skipped it. Y'all chose Biden and Kamala. But how dare she speak for those of us who are descendants of slavery in this country, and Black America don't check her? This is an Indian woman who grew up in Canada, whose mother said she was white, Caucasian on the birth certificate, whose father was a Jamaican. She didn't grow up with a Black experience like we did, those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery in America. And y'all let her get away with that. Y'all let her get away with that. Let that settle in. We're going to allow her to rewrite our history. We will allow Kamala Harris to rewrite our history and tell us our history. Somebody should have checked her. I need us moving forward not to go to the polls and continue to vote because somebody's skin is brown like ours, Black like yours, Black like mine. All skin folks ain't kin folks. Black is not what you look like. Being Black is a sound. You can hear it. I need those of us who have a third eye. I need you to open your third eye and listen for it, because you can hear it. You can feel it in your spirit when somebody is Black like you. Close your eyes and listen, because being Black is a sound. How dare we let Kamala Harris rewrite our history in this country? the country that our ancestors built with their lives, whose shoulders America is standing on. It's time for us to wake up, Black Georgians. All skin folks and kin folks. And I told you I've spent a lot of time over in these clubhouse spaces. And we're going to have a different conversation moving into 2022. We got to have a different conversation. We got to have a different narrative. We have to have a different approach to politics in 2022. We're not going to the polls and voting for somebody because they're Black, because their skin is brown. We're going to the polls with intent. We're going to the polls to vote policy, not personalities and not people. I just showed you a Republican just introduced a bill for probation to get our people out of these ties. We're not going to the polls in 2022 ignorant, willfully ignorant. We're not going to the polls voting for somebody because they Black. They got naturally nappy hair like me. I like her. I like him. We're going to be smarter than that in 2022. We're going to expect more from our politicians in 2022. We're not doing that. I'm not staying in these political streets fighting these battles with people that, you know, just sitting on the sidelines. Where the soldiers at? Where our soldiers at? No, we sitting on the sidelines, looking, scared. We're not going to the polls like that in 2022. Just because you see somebody's commercial on on television or hear a commercial on the radio and you know they Black, I'm going to vote for Black. No. The data shows that by 2053, we will have zero net wealth. Some of y'all got a little change in your pocket and you think that change in your pocket means you got something. You broke. Let me help you, brothers and sisters. You broke. You don't own nothing. You can't even afford to buy right now. In this COVID season, it's a seller's market. For every one house that's on the market, you got 10 buyers. They can sell houses now for whatever the hell they want. You can't even afford to buy right now. You think it's about to get better? No. The little change you got in your pocket, we broke. White America has 10 times more wealth. 10 times the wealth. Because you got a little change in your pocket, you think you got something. We broke as a people. With 13-14% of this population, with 2.6% of the wealth. That wealth is concentrated between athletes and entertainers. The rest of us are broke. We're not going to the polls in 2022, family, willfully ignorant, looking at somebody because they got brown skin, Black skin, nappy hair like you and me. We got to be smarter than that. Where my soldiers at? Where you at? I see you over in the chat. Good morning, Don. Good morning, Monique. The conversation must be changed. We're not here to play in 2022. Good morning, Lady K. We're not going to the polls willfully ignorant in 2022. Good morning, Robbie. Good morning, Political Trap. Good morning. We're not going to the polls in 2022. Willfully ignorant. We got a gubernatorial race coming up here in Georgia. Brian Kemp, Candace Taylor, Vernon Jones, Republicans, Brian Kemp, our current governor, Candace Taylor, Vernon Jones, Republicans. Stacey Abrams, we're waiting. We're sure she's going to jump in. We're just waiting. Brian Kemp will not go unchallenged by a Democrat. Stacey can take her time. We're waiting. But we're not going to go to the polls and vote for any candidate that don't specifically have an agenda for Black Georgians. We have HB 541, a bill right now in Georgia's current legislature to address the impact of slavery and Jim Crow on those of us who are descendants of slavery here in Georgia. We've already had a conversation with Candace Taylor. She knows what she has to do to get this Black vote if she becomes the Republican frontrunner. She knows, she's clear. She's listening. She gets it. We'll put a check by her name. Vernon Jones, HB 541, bruh. HB 541. Vernon Jones, HB 541. We need you to speak on that. We need you to support that. Vernon Jones. Brian Kemp, I don't know if I have any expectations, but if you do it, man, oh man, you change the game, Brian Kemp. If you do it, if you pass it, you put your name, you take HB 541 while you are currently our governor, Brian Kemp. You take HB 541 in the 2020 legislature, make sure it gets passed. You done changed the game, Brian Kemp. We playing politics, not politricks. We have expectations of these legislators. Come on, y'all. We're not going to the polls willfully ignorant. It's about policy, not personalities and not these people. It's about policy. Stacey Abrams, never heard you part your lips to talk about reparations. Speak on it, sis. You're going to have to play that Black card in 2022. Because if you don't, if you ever try to run for president, because that's what we see, that's what we hear. If you ever try to run for president, the nation gonna know what you didn't do in Georgia. Get it right, Stacey. Sis, get it right. Speak to Black Georgians. HB 541, reparations nationally. We're not going to the polls in 2022 willfully ignorant. Black Georgians, Black people. We're not. We're not. Kamala done showed y'all who she is. How many times she gonna have to show you? And y'all didn't check her. The website, do me a favor, somebody put hb541.net. Go to the website, donate, support this movement around Georgia to push these politicians to talk Black to us. Somebody put it in the chat, hb541.net. Go to the website, support. Put your money where your mouth is. Soldiers. We in church this morning. I don't know what I'm on, but I'm just feeling the spirit and I'm gonna ride with it. Because when God speaks, I get out the way. We're not playing. hb541.net, y'all. We're not going to the polls in 2022. Nowhere across this country will we go to the polls in 2022 and don't hold them accountable. We're not going to do it. I started an initiative called Withhold the Vote. There's an initiative called Down Ballot. There's an initiative called Hold the Vote Until. We're not going back to the polls willfully ignorant. voting for people because they look like us. We're not doing it. The rumor mill here in Georgia is Herschel Walker might put his hat in the ring to run for this U.S. Senate seat against Raphael Warnock. That's the rumor. It's a rumor, y'all. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see, right? We shall see if Herschel puts his hat in the ring. Herschel Walker, they love you because you're an athlete. And you did a lot for, was it UGA is where you went to school? You did a lot. They made a lot of money off you, bruh. Off your body, not your brain. And they're going to use you in this U.S. Senate race off your body and not your brain. Because you don't even support reparations. And we know you got to be a descendant of slavery in America. And Herschel Walker, you don't support reparations. You had the audacity, Herschel Walker, to speak before the United States Congress against H.R. 40. You had the audacity looking at you because you black like me. Yeah, you got to be a descendant of slavery in America. You got to be, bro. And you had the audacity to sit in H.R. 40, sit there and talk against reparations for those of us who are descendants of slavery. Our ancestors, they got to be turning over in their graves off listening to that rhetoric, them talking points that somebody gave you. Do your homework. Do your research. Talk to your people. Talk to us. They used you as an athlete for your body, not your brain. I would love to see you jump in this. You jump in, bro. It ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be pretty. Raphael Warnock, you will not go unchallenged. Let that be your warning. Get it right. Standing in the pulpit of Dr. King. Standing in the pulpit of Dr. King with that reverend in front of your name. Get it right, Raphael. You still got time. Because you will not go unchallenged if you don't. That will be your warning. Reparations, bruh. Reparations, bruh. Reparations for those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery in this country. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. I don't know what kind of rant I just went on, but we're at the top of the hour. We're at the top of the hour. I will be back here every Saturday like I normally am. I miss my co-host, but I think that we can handle this. I think I might have proven that we can do this. We got work to do here in the great state of Georgia. We got reparations to make sure that happens across this nation. The data says 2053, we will be a wealthless class of people, a permanent undercaste in this country. Kamala know what a caste system means. Ask her. She can tell you about a caste system because she's from the upper caste. She's from an upper caste in India. Okay? Ask her. She knows what this is. They got the right one. But trust me, we are not going to let this happen on our watch. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, where every week I come to you giving voice to issues, activism right here in the great state of Georgia. Go to the website, support this broadcast. TamaraForGeorgia.com comes up my Tamara Shealy website. Support this broadcast. This is independent media. This is how we spread the word. This is how we stay consistent. This is how we keep people engaged because the traditional media is rocking y'all right back to sleep. Support this broadcast. Cash App, the Tamara for Georgia. Go to the website, TamaraForGeorgia.com. Go to HB 541's website. Support the movement. We need all the support we can get. We're spreading the word about HB 541. We're going to hold them accountable, the elected officials accountable right here in Georgia. If they don't do it right, trust me, it's going to hurt them later. It's going to hurt them later. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. I will see you next week, Saturday, right here, same time, right here on YouTube. Spread the word, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe, notifications, do all the things to make sure we stay here. Because if not, we ain't going to make it. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Y'all have a great week, everybody.